Hey guys, it's Cece, and today I am going to be doing my updated 2017 bookshelf tour. I feel like a bookshelf tour is pretty self-explanatory, but I did want to explain just a couple of things that are going on behind me. First of all, I have all of my books, most of my books, organized by author's last name, so that's going to be starting up in the top left and going down all the way back here. They're organized by author's last name. That is, except for my Tbr Shelf, which is directly behind me, and that is organized by rainbow. I have lots of Funko Pops and collectibles and mementos, and I will be talking about each of those things before I talk about the books on each individual shelf. As far as the books that are turned outwards on my shelf, these are the books that I absolutely love. They are some of my favorites, and they also have some of the most beautiful covers, so I wanted to display them and make them seem special. My graphic novels are separated from everything else, so graphic novels and comics have their own shelf. They are also organized by author's last name somewhat. And I actually have no idea how many books are behind me. Grand total, I have somewhere in the high 200s of books, possibly going into 300, but some of my books are behind me and a whole bunch of them are in storage, still back on the East Coast, so I don't know how many books are behind me, but it is some portion of that 300 books that I own. I think that's everything that I wanted to cover, so let's just jump into it, and I'm going to tell you all about everything that's on my shelves. Okay, so I thought I would start by giving you kind of a brief overview of what my shelves actually look like when I'm not standing in front of them. At the top, we basically just have lots of pops and owl crate boxes. I'll show you more in detail what everything is on here. Like I said, all of my books are organized alphabetically by author's last name, starting up in the top left corner. This middle shelf is kind of empty. I'm using it mostly for display purposes, not so much with the books, so lots of mugs and Funko Pops and DVDs. And then at the bottom on all of these shelves, we just have storage, notebooks, some library books, that sort of thing. So I think that's basically everything when it comes to being kind of zoomed out and showing you wide view. So let's get in all close and I'll show you what everything else is. Starting up here at the very top with my Funko Pops and owl crate boxes. There are two owl crate boxes back here. They're both empty. I just really like keeping the boxes because I think they look nice up here at the top of my shelf. As far as Funko Pops, we have three. We have Dancing Ferris from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Will Graham from Hannibal, and Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean. And in between those we have a couple of trinkets as usual. The cat was painted by my cousin, I think as a birthday present when I was 8 or 9. And then the egg is a Fabergé egg from my grandparents, which I believe they got in Las Vegas. It's also a music box and it opens up, but it's a little too far away from me, so you're just gonna have to see it closed up from afar. Next up in this middle shelf we have a bunch of Harry Potter related things, mostly snacks that I've purchased from the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, both in California and in Florida. So starting over on the left, we have a love potion, and then we have pumpkin juice that doesn't actually have pumpkin juice in it anymore. It's now just an empty bottle. A chocolate frog. Then over on the right, a box of Bertie Bott's Every Flavored Beans, plus a little mug that I got from the studio tour when I was in England. And then in the middle, it's kind of hard to miss my Hogwarts sculpture. This was a graduation gift. It is a sculpture of Hogwarts as well as a teeny tiny Hagrid's hut made out of a copy of the first Harry Potter book. It lights up, and someday I would like a better place to display this because I think it's really beautiful and thoughtful, but for now it lives up here all the way at the top of my shelves. So over here at the end we have another two owl crate boxes just to balance out the look. As far as pops go, we have a Headless Ned Stark, which is actually a custom that my friends made because I could never afford an actual Headless Ned Stark, but they made that for me and I love it. There's also Angel from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, as well as a Dancing Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy. Trinket-wise, there is a iron throne sitting next to Ned Stark that's actually a Christmas ornament, but when it's not Christmas time, it comes off the tree and it sits on my shelves. And then we have the first of my three masks. That one was purchased for me by my grandparents in Las Vegas at the Venetian. And then over at the very, very end is a Mickey ear hat that I made a few years ago when I went to Disneyland. With all that in mind, let's jump into the bulk of the bookshelves, the books. Here we are on our first actual shelf, and we'll talk knickknacks before we talk books. Over starting on the left, we have a Jane Austen bust that I picked up while I was in Bath. In front of my Hunger Games books, I have a Mockingjay pin that I got at Hot Topic just before the release of the first movie. And then as far as Funko Pops, we have Gretchen and Karen, both from Mean Girls. And now let's get into the books. Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson. Harry, A History, the true story of a boy wizard, his fans, and life inside the Harry Potter phenomenon by Melissa Anelli. 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. What Light by Jay Asher. And this one is a signed signed copy. Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, and Sense and Sensibility, also by Jane Austen. The Secret Garden Classics Unfolded Edition by Frances Hodgson Burnett. Grammar Snobs Are Great Big Meanies, A Guide to Language for Fun and Spite by June Cassegrain. Graceling, Fire, and Bitter Blue, all three books of the Graceling Realm series by Kristen Kishore. Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. The Mystery of the Blue Train, also by Agatha Christie. The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingjay, all three books of the Hunger Games trilogy by Suzanne Collins. An ARC and a hardcover copy of Fire and Stars by Audrey Colthurst. My ARC of this one is signed and personalized. You're Never Weird on the Internet Almost by Felicia Day. The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas, and this is the Modern Library edition. The Ear, the Eye, and the Arm by Nancy Farmer. And The House of the Scorpion, also by Nancy Farmer. Okay, on to our next shelf. So starting over on the left, we have my second mask, Mystery Mini Elsa, and that is from one of the Owl Crate boxes I've received, as well as a full-sized Elsa. The Sea of Trolls by Nancy Farmer. Can't Wait to Get to Heaven by Fanny Flagg. Beastly, Cloaked, and A Kiss in Time. These are all companion novels by Alex Flynn. Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. Serpent Tide by K.L. Fogg. This one is a signed copy. Dragon Rider by Cornelia Funk. Ink Heart, Ink Spell, and Ink Death, all three books in the Ink World trilogy by Cornelia Funk. Reckless by Cornelia Funk. And The Thief Lord, also by Cornelia Funk. The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. This is a Penguin Little Black Classics edition. Pride and Prejudice and Zombies by Jane Austen and Seth Grahame-Smith. The Robber Bridegroom and Other Stories by the Brothers Grimm, also a Penguin Little Black Classics edition. Book of 1,000 Days by Shannon Hale. This edition is signed and personalized. The Goose Girl, Anna Burning, River Secrets, and Forest Born, all four books of the Books of Bayern series by Shannon Hale. These are also each signed and personalized. And The Princess Academy, book one of the Princess Academy trilogy, also by Shannon Hale. And finally, here is the last of the top shelves. I can stop climbing around on my step stool now. Up in the top left corner, there is a teeny tiny ladybug. It's a really small jewelry box. And Funko Pop wise, we also have Mulan, Mushu, and Cricky. Palace of Stone and The Forgotten Sisters, books 2 and 3 of the Princess Academy trilogy by Shannon Hale. And Palace of Stone is signed and personalized. 84 Charing Cross Road and The Duchess of Bloomsbury Street by Helene Hanff. Buffering, Unshared Tales of a Life Fully Loaded by Hannah Hart. Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. 13 Little Blue Envelopes by Maureen Johnson. The Long Walk by Stephen King, writing as Richard Bachman. Almost Like Being in Love by Steve Kluger. From the Mixed Up Files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler by E.L. Konigsberg. Intensity by Dean Koontz. Memory Palace by Hari Kunzru. An Arc of Not Your Sidekick by C.B. Lee. This one has been signed and personalized quite recently. The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. This one has been signed and personalized also. Every Day by David Levithan. The Giver and Gathering Blue, the first two books of the Giver Quartet by Lois Lowry. The Wand in the World, Conversations with Writers of Fantasy, compiled and edited by Leonard S. Marcus. Amy and Roger's Epic Detour by Morgan Matson. An Arc of Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Seanan McGuire. Cinder, Scarlet, and Cress, the first three books of the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. The Host by Stephanie Meyer. And The Dragon's Blade, The Reborn King by Michael R. Miller. And this one has also been signed and personalized. Now we are back to the first shelf again. So knickknacks on this shelf include a Funko Pop of Cassima from Orphan Black. On top of those Fablehaven books, there's a teeny tiny turtle. He has a bouncy head and I love him. And then we have a blown glass dragon that was a gift. The Candy Shop War by Brandon Mull. Fablehaven, Rise of the Evening Star, Grip of the Shadow Plague, Secrets of the Dragon Sanctuary, and Keys to the Demon Prison. These are books 1 through 5 of the Fablehaven series by Brandon Mull. Of this series, I have books 4 and 5 signed and personalized. A Monster Calls, a novel by Patrick Ness, inspired by an idea from Siobhan Dowd with illustrations by Jim Kay. The Knife of Never Letting Go, The Ask and the Answer, and Monsters of Men, all 3 books of the Chaos Walking trilogy by Patrick Ness. The Rest of Us Just Live Here, also by Patrick Ness. And this is one that I have signed and personalized. Aragon, Eldest, Brissinger, and Inheritance, my very mismatched set of The Inheritance Cycle by Christopher Paolini, Hatchet by Gary Paulson, Life as We Knew It by Susan Beth Pfeffer, Reading Stephen King, Issues of Censorship, Student Choice, and Popular Literature, edited by Brenda Miller Power, Jeffrey D. Wilhelm, and Kelly Chandler, The Silver Linings Playbook by Matthew Quick, and The Lightning Thief, the first book of the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series by Rick Riordan. This middle shelf is just dedicated to mugs, and I will show you each of them. I've gotten them from various places. The only two that have any purpose are the middle one, which holds all of my bookmarks, and the Mickey Mouse one, which holds a bunch of post-it notes. So the first mug that we have from the far left is this Forest Moon of Endor travel poster mug, which was purchased at Disneyland in California. This is what the other side looks like. Next up, we have this Mickey Mouse mug, which was a gift from Janelle a couple of Christmases ago. And like I said, he holds a bunch of little post-it notes. Next up, we have a mug. This one is from, I believe, Out of Print. It was a gift from my sister, and it holds all of my bookmarks. One that you've already seen a few times over the course of this video. This is a disappearing TARDIS mug, so when you put a hot drink in it, the TARDIS disappears. It looks like this on the side and just like space on the back. Next, we have a BB-8 cup. This one was also purchased in Disneyland, and Janelle got a matching one. And finally, we have this little kitty mug, which was a gift from Janelle's mom last Christmas. So those are all of the mugs on my mug shelf, though they are not the only mugs that I own, I assure you. Next up, this shelf, which just so happens to include almost exclusively Percy Jackson and Harry Potter books with a little bit of Rainbow Rowell in the middle. This shelf is exclusively decorated by Harry Potter merchandise. So Funko Pops, we have starting on the left, Snape standing in the corner because he does bad things and he deserves to stand in the corner. In the middle, we have Hermione, Ron, and Harry in his Quidditch uniform, plus Hedwig, who is a mystery mini Funko Pop that came in an Owl Crate box. And then over on the far right, we have Voldemort. In front of the books, we have one of my wands. That one was made for me when I went to a Harry Potter premiere, and they had a guy there carving wands, and I got that one. Hanging from the books is my Time Turner necklace, and on top, there is a glass etching of the Hogwarts Express, which I got from platform 9 3/4. Ron and Hermione, by the way, are wearing custom Funko Pop clothing that was a gift from a friend, and I will make the Etsy shop that makes these scarves and hats down in the description below if you're interested. The Sea of Monsters, The Titan's Curse, The Battle of the Labyrinth, and The Last Olympian, books 2 through 5 of the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series by Rick Riordan. The Lost Hero, also by Rick Riordan. Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. The Hogwarts Library, which includes Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Quidditch Through the Ages, and The Tales of Beetle the Bard, all by J.K. Rowling, of course. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, and Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, all 7 books of the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. Back to the first shelf again, so this just has a few knickknacks on it. Funko Pops, we've got Castiel, Dean, Sam, and Bobby from Supernatural, and up on top of my series of unfortunate events, we have my third and final mask, and that is one that I purchased myself when I visited Venice. A Darker Shade of Magic and A Gathering of Shadows, books 1 and 2 of the Shades of Magic trilogy by V.E. Schwab. My copy of A Darker Shade of Magic is signed and personalized. This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. This one is also signed and personalized. Macbeth by William Shakespeare, and Twelfth Night by William Shakespeare. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, and this is a Pulp the Classics edition. Challenger Deep by Neil Shusterman. Levin Thumps and the Gateway to Fu. Levin Thumps and the Whispered Secret. Levin Thumps and the Eyes of the Want. Levin Thumps and the Wrath of Ezra. And Levin Thumps and the Ruins of Alder. All 5 books of the Levin Thumps series by Obert Sky. More Happy Than Not by Adam Silvera. Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore by Robin Sloan. The Lump of Coal by Lemony Snicket with art by Brett Helquist. The Bad Beginning, or Orphans, a bonus edition of the first book of the series of unfortunate events by Lemony Snicket. I got this edition at Shakespeare and Company in Paris. The Bad Beginning, The Reptile Room, The The Wide Window, The Miserable Mill, The Austere Academy, The Ersatz Elevator, The Vile Village, The Hostile Hospital, and The Carnivorous Carnival, books 1 through 9 of the series of unfortunate events by Lemony Snicket. On this middle shelf, we just have my Hogwarts Express Funko Pop rides, plus the Funko Pops that it came with. So here is the Hogwarts Express, and with them we have Harry, Ron, and Hermione as they looked in the very first movie. Also behind the Hogwarts Express, you can't see it, but I have my wand. It doesn't really have a display location right now, but this is the Ollivanders Wand that I got when I went to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter in California, and I got it actually in the wand ceremony at Ollivanders. Okay, so on this shelf we have a couple of Funko Pops. Over in the top left we have Matt Murdock from Daredevil, and then down below we have Sadness and Bing Bong from Inside Out. And over in the corner, I don't think you can see that, so I'm gonna pull it out. We have a really small copy of The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde. The Slippery Slope, The Grim Grotto, The Penultimate Peril, and The End, books 10 through 13 of the series of unfortunate events by Lemony Snicket. Stormglass, Sea Glass, and Spyglass, all 3 books of the Glass trilogy by Maria V. Snyder. Stargirl by Jerry Spinelli. The Mysterious Benedict Society by Trenton Lee Stewart. The Raven Boys and the Dream Thieves, books 1 and 2 of the Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. This copy of the Dream Thieves is signed and personalized, but it's personalized to my girlfriend and not to me. Shiver, Linger, and Forever, the first 3 books of the Wolves of Mercy Falls series, also by Maggie Stiefvater. Daughter of Smoke and Bone, Days of Blood and Starlight, and Dreams of Gods and Monsters, all 3 books of the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy by Laini Taylor. The Merciless by Danielle Vega. The Martian by Andy Weir, and an ARC as well as a hard copy of Zeros by Scott Westerfeld, Margot Lanigan, and Deborah Biancotti. And this is the end of the books that I've actually read, starting back over here, so we just have a couple of things on this shelf. First of all, that picture of my girlfriend and I, which also doubles as a bookend, and then we have Scooby, Shaggy, Velma, Daphne, and Fred, all of the Funko Pop Scooby-Doo figures. Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit by Jeanette Winterson. Sorcery and Cecilia, or The Enchanted Chocolate Pot by Patricia C. Reed and Caroline Stevermer. I Am the Messenger by Marcus Zusak. And finally, The Book Thief, also by Marcus Zusak. Here we have my Doctor Who shelf, a shelf for all or some at least of my Doctor Who things. I'm not going to pull everything out and show you, I'm just going to kind of go through the line. Over on the far corner, that book is the Shakespeare Notebooks. Funko Pops in order, we have Jack Harkness with Vortex Manipulator, A Weeping Angel, the 9th Doctor holding a banana, Rose Tyler, the 10th Doctor, River Song, the 11th Doctor with Fez and Mop, and the 12th Doctor holding a spoon. I also have a bunch of those little like Lego looking things. They're from a mystery bag that I was getting for a while, mostly villains. So the Weeping Angel next to the 11th Doctor was something I got actually when I went to the Cardiff Doctor Who experience. The 2 TARDISes we have on the shelf are, first of all, the TARDIS mug over on the left, and then over on the right, the TARDIS Funko Pop, which opens and is amazing. And the sonic screwdriver that is leaning up against that Funko TARDIS is River Song's Sonic. And here we are on my TBR shelf, so it is labeled TBR by that little piece of paper over there on the left. And then the only 2 trinkets on this shelf are Ed and Sean from Shaun of the Dead. And this shelf is organized by rainbow instead of being organized by author's last name like the rest of the books are. The Mark of Athena by Rick Riordan. Homegoing by Ya Jassy. Where Am I Now? True Stories of Girlhood and Accidental Fame by Mara Wilson. Golden Boy by Abigail Tartland. Georgia Peaches and Other Forbidden Fruit by J. Robin Brown. Perfect 10 by L. Phillips. Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia, and this is the Owl Crate exclusive cover. Blue Lily Lily Blue by Maggie Stiefvater. The Demon King by Cinda Williams Chima. The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. The Reader by Tracy Chi. Sun, Sand, Murder by John Keese Walker. An Arc of On the Edge of Gone by Corinne Doivas. The Raven King by Maggie Stiefvater. This one is also signed and personalized to my girlfriend. All the Birds in the Sky by Charlie Jane Anders. Room by Emma Donoghue. An Arc of A Line in the Dark by Melinda Lowe. Swarm by Scott Westerfeld, Margot Lanigan, and Deborah Biancotti. The Dragon's Blade Veiled Intentions by Michael R. Miller. Your Welcome Universe by Whitney Gardner. My Lady Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. Winter by Marissa Meyer. Codependent No More by Melody Beattie. An Arc of Autobiography by Christina Lauren, A Modest Proposal by Jonathan Swift, this is a Penguin Little Black Classics edition, The Beautiful Cassandra by Jane Austen, also a Penguin Little Black Classics edition, an Arc of And It Came to Pass by Laura Stone, The Art of Asking, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Let People Help by Amanda Palmer, Akata Witch by Nendi Okorafor, and This Is Really Happening, True Stories by Aaron Shack. Okay, so here we have a shelf that is dedicated to travel mementos as well as graphic novels and comics. All of my mementos here are from when I was studying abroad my junior year of college. So we have the Leaning Tower of Pisa, an Eiffel Tower, all of the frogs are from Burano, and then the little telephone box over there from London. The little books over there are things I picked up at various places I visited, and then the little ones that have the names of places on the side, like Rome and the Tower of London, those are all fold-outs, just like the one that's all folded out here for London. So there's one for Rome and the Tower of London, Paris, and one all about William Shakespeare. And then we have all of my graphic novels and comics. El Defo by Cece Bell, In Real Life by Cory Doctorow and Jen Wang, Power and Magic, the Queer Witch Comics Anthology, Scott Pilgrim Gets It Together by Brian Lee O'Malley, Much Ado About Nothing, a manga Shakespeare edition, and this was illustrated by Emma Viselli. This is Sherlock manga, I believe, of A Study in Pink, and it was a gift from a couple of friends when they visited Japan. I'm not going to pull each of those little individual comics out because it's a little bit difficult, but there's plenty of Bitch Planet and then a bunch of single issues and some Doctor Who comics. Saga Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, and Volume 4. These are all by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. And Spell on Wheels by Kate Leth, Megan Levins, and Marissa Louise. Now we are on to my DVD shelf, so there are a few more knickknacks on this one. Starting over on the left, we have a collection of Pushing Daisies themed roll-on perfumes. So we have one for the Darling Mermaid Darlings, Itty Bitty, the Pie Maker, and the Lonely Tourist. There are two keychains sitting in front of these. First of all, we have Lego Batman, that was a gift from my dad, and then a Minnie Mouse, which was a gift from my girlfriend because she has the matching Mickey. On top of the DVDs, there's a little double-decker London bus, and then over in the far right corner, we have a Funko Pop of Deadpool. Anastasia, Beetlejuice, The Breakfast Club, The Cabin in the Woods, Catch Me If You Can, Clue, The Fault in Our Stars, Forrest Gump, Ghostbusters, Good Morning Vietnam, Good Will Hunting, Gross Point Blank, the Harry Potter Complete 8-Film Collection box set, It's Kind of a Funny Story, The Italian Job, Julie and Julia, Legally Blonde, The Lion King, The Lord of the Rings Extended Edition Trilogy box set, Meredith Willson's The Music Man, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, The Nightmare Before Christmas, Pete's Dragon, Pirates of the Caribbean The Curse of the Black Pearl, The Prestige, The Proposal, Red, Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase, The Shawshank Redemption, Sleepy Hollow, Dickett, When Harry Met Sally, You've Got Mail, and Zombieland. Over in this corner we have two series. I'm not going to pull them all out for you, so I have the complete first season and third season of Bewitched. I would eventually like to own all of the seasons. And then I have seasons 1 through 7 of Supernatural, and that is all of my DVD collection. Over here on this shelf we have even more knickknacks. So we have a VHS of The Phantom Toll Booth over on the left. It was a gift from my uncle because that's what we always used to watch when I stayed over at his house. We have a DVD of Footloose, which is a production I was in when I was in high school, and that is the DVD of that production. On top of my stack of CDs, which are a mess, and I don't need to show you them all because even just seeing Hilary Duff, Aquamarine, the Jonas Brothers, and Ally and AJ, I think you can guess kind of the quality of the CDs in this stack. But on top of that is a little jewelry box that I got from my great-grandmother when she passed away. In the middle we have these two dinosaurs. They are from the TV show Firefly. At the back, that's a clapboard. I had a Hollywood-themed 12th birthday party, and I still have that prop from that birthday party. The thing behind the second dinosaur is a notebook that my aunt made for me. Over on the right, we have a collection of boxes. The bottom one is wood burnt with my name in it. The second one is from my grandpa, I believe, and then the top one is a little gift box with my initial C on it that I got at Christmas from my grandmother. There is a mini dance statue right there, which was an award I won at a dance competition. Two rocks, I'm not going to pull them out, but the purple one says Future. It was a gift from my friend when we graduated high school. And then I have a teeny tiny rock that is a pet rock that I got also in high school, and I think he was named Franklin. There are also 2 bottles of perfume down here, and then finally on the right we have a pipe as well as a lighter, and those are from 221B Baker Street, the museum tour in London. So this bottom shelf is a bit hard to pull apart and show you everything, but it's mainly comprised of a bunch of coffee table books over on the left. My high school and junior high yearbooks are stacked up in the middle, and then there are just a lot lot of notebooks and such over on the right. As far as knickknacks, we have a wood-burnt 10th Doctor that was a gift from my girlfriend, as well as 2 more of those little Doctor Who mystery minis. Both of those are the 11th Doctor. And then hiding down by the bottom of the yearbooks is a Weeping Angel statue that I got at the Doctor Who experience in Cardiff. The book that's sitting up in the middle is Fictitious Dishes by Dinah Fried, and I'm not going to be able to pull out all of these coffee table books, so I'm just going to tell you what they each are. We have The Chronicles of Spiderwick, Game of Thrones, A Pop-Up Guide to Westeros, Inside HBO's Game of Thrones, which came out around the 4th season, the Gishwez 2014 yearbook, Doctor Who, The Secret Lives of Monsters, Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas concept art, The Beatrice Letters by Lemony Snicket. These don't have anything written on the side, so I'll pull them out. We have Nursery Rhymes for Social Good and Feminist Nursery Rhymes. They're both by Holly Olson. They were a gift from my grandmother. She found them on Amazon and she bought them for just all of us because she liked them so much. The Haunted Mansion, Imagineering a Disney Classic, Fight On, He Persisted by Chelsea Clinton and Alexandra Boyer, and a Time Magazine Harry Potter Special Edition. This shelf is a lot of storage and just various things that I need to fit in here. So over on the left we have a couple of little books I'll pull out later, as well as a small box of pencils. Those were a gift from a friend. They're from Cambridge. This is also usually where I stick my library books. So all of those books that are standing up over there are library books. In the middle we have my upcoming TBR books, and then on the right there are a bunch of journals and such. And then of course obviously on the far right we have 3 just storage bins that are used for pens and electronics and that sort of thing. I will show you a couple of the things though over on the left. King Arthur, a Pitkin Guide, The Strange Tales of Hampton Court by Sheila Dunn and Ken Wilson, The History of England by a Partial, Prejudiced, and Ignorant Historian by Jane Austen, Irish Proverbs, my copy of Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which is a play by Jack Thorne that I refuse to shelf with the rest of my Harry Potter books, 2 first chapter samplers of Not Your Villain by C.B. Lee. Then, like I said, over there we get into library books, so I have a couple of graphic novels, as well as the first 4 volumes of Miss Marvel, and then There Were None by Agatha Christie, The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold, and A Conjuring of Light by V.E. Schwab. And this is the very final shelf of all of my bookshelves. Like you can see, this is mainly used for storage. I have my little bins there with more stuff, lots of pins, and then just a miscellaneous box of I don't even know what. There are a couple of binders over on the far right. Heading into the middle, we have a Winnie the Pooh statue, and I got that when I graduated from kindergarten. Next to that is a birthday card that my aunt made for me, and it is of 221B Baker Street. It's a Sherlock-themed card. It's very fancy. Then over on the left, we have my final Funko Pop, the Jolly Roger. This is from Pirates of the Caribbean, and it was a Disney Parks exclusive. And that concludes everything that is on my bookshelves. Okay guys, there you go. That is my bookshelf tour, updated 2017 version. I hope that you enjoyed watching. If you have any questions about what I covered in this video, please comment down below and I would be happy to answer. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye!